So Rigetti Quantum Computing broke a key level today, breaking through 1750. I'm going to show you in the chart exactly why that level is so critical. There was a late day market rally that pushed this stock all the way to over $18 a share. We're also going to talk about D-Wave, and we're going to listen to the interview. I'm going to listen for the first time with you all to the interview on Mad Money with CEO of D-Wave, Dr. Alan Baratz. We had Rigetti earnings yesterday. This is kind of funny, so I got to show you guys this about Rigetti. So earlier in the day on the Discord, I said, if Rigetti closes above 1750, I will become a nun. And then Doc Quantum says, I see at least one big obstacle to that possibility. And Fabio says, you better showcase on this on your YouTube video. It got a little sketchy there for a little while, because as you can see, the stock went up to almost 18, broke 18 for a little bit and went up to 1820. So we're going to go over why that level was so important, why I said 1750. We didn't close above 1750, but the price action is very, very bullish going into the last couple of days of the trading week. I wanted to take you guys over to Rigetti's website, because check it out. They've got the Cepheus 1 36Q now listed with their other quantum computers. The Rigetti Cepheus 1 36Q has 36 qubits, single qubit gates of 99.9% median fidelity, and two qubit gates of 99.5% fidelity. Really cool to see that there. I was also reflecting on the earnings call as well. I did do some earnings coverage. So if you want to see like a thorough deep dive, check out last night's video. Actually, I think it went out this morning on the earnings call, but I was giving it more thought. And one thing about Rigetti is they were asked about M&A, so like mergers and acquisitions, a couple times. And one of the answers was, as of today, we don't see anything out there that can help us. We're in the leadership camp right now when it comes to overall quantum computing performance. So Rigetti sees Rigetti as a leader in the space, and thus they're not looking for acquisitions. There was also a question about their financial situation, essentially what they're going to do with their cash, and they have a lot of cash runway. And since they've just completed their cash offering, which improved their balance sheet significantly, what occurred to me today as I was thinking about it is Rigetti is in a situation where they may not need to dilute shareholders. And what happens when you have a company like Rigetti that a lot of people want a piece of Rigetti and the shares get scarce, then we start seeing that trickle up. So I think that it's a very real possibility that we see some positive price action in the near future if this macro can keep holding up. Now, I want to give you guys my thoughts on Rigetti's today, because I narrowly missed becoming a nun today. It was a close call. As you can see, for a little while, it wasn't looking very good. We were at 1814, and I have this gray line marked here that indicates that 1752, which is a critical level. So why does that level matter? Well, if we look back, 1752 acted as resistance in the pre-earnings announcement of the chip multiple times. So for us to break through with velocity over that 1752 shows there's quite a bit of bullish sentiment in the stock. And we also saw quite a bit of volume coming in. The stock was overbought, and this was a considerable pump. In fact, intraday, this kind of took me a little bit off guard, because this was just kind of towards the end of the trading day, and suddenly there was a 12% surge. And Rigetti historically has moved in very explosive ways. So Rigetti's also in a situation where they've told shareholders, we're delivering this chip, and they delivered the chip. They delivered the hardware. It's one thing to say, I'm going to deliver hardware. It's another thing to actually do it. So if we look back at the price action for Rigetti, and we're thinking like, okay, this is a fairly new stock. It's new to these levels, new to being in these above $15, above $17 levels. And really, we don't have a ton of price history above 15. We're only forming that recently, and even less price history above 1750. In fact, if we get closer to the chart here, There's only a few days, maybe let's see, from January 2nd through January 8th, where Rigetti traded above 1750 a share. And if we come to today, we've broken that level, that key level. We didn't close under the level. We actually closed at 17, and in post we're around 17, but still very bullish setup. We're off this rising support. We're trading above the 50-day moving average. The setup is very bullish to go and retest those all-time highs. So all-time highs for Rigetti are 21.57. I gave my price target of $25 earlier this year. $25 is within reach if we keep this good macro. We got something like a 99% chance of a rate cut coming, and the market is humming along. As long as there's no black swan event, we could definitely be seeing some more positive price action out of Rigetti in the coming days. So keep Rigetti on your radar. Okay, so I'm really excited about Rigetti. I'm excited about the price action. Also excited I didn't need to join the sisterhood. So now let's take a look at the D-Wave chart, because D-Wave also had some nice sentiment today and a late day rally. The stock has pushed up to $19 a few times, and we just had the CEO go on to Mad Money. Let's take a listen, and I'll get my real-time reactor.
Lately, this market's going into a speculative frenzy, people racking up huge gains in quantum computing stocks, even as the technology is still in its infancy, but maybe it's closer than we think. But I'm not scolding you. I want to take the speculation seriously, because maybe it's not that speculative after all. Which brings me to D-Wave Quantum, a stock that's up nearly 2,000% over the past 12 months. I want some of that. Last Thursday, D-Wave reported, honestly, I'm not quite sure what to make of the numbers. I'd rather just play with an open hand. Companies touting the fact that bookings were up 92% year over year. That's terrific. But like I said, quantum computing is still very early. That's why bookings stood at just 1.3 million. That's an M. At the same time, the company's losing big money. But, it has big money. So maybe so what? So you can understand why more traditional investors look at this, struggle to justify D-Wave's more than $6 billion market capitalization, but not me, because I'm open-minded. I want to find out what's going on. If this is a technology whose time has come, then it makes sense. So has quantum computing truly arrived, or has the stock gotten ahead of itself? Let's take a close look with Dr. Alan Baratz. He's the president and CEO of D-Wave to find out. Dr. Baratz, welcome to Mad Money.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll tell you the conundrum
That's
I
cool.
have. I heard we mentioned that you were coming on. Well, nobody stops me on the way to getting a haircut and never asks me about a stock. I got stopped twice saying, listen, you got to find out about that D-Wave. And one guy said that. That one said, I made a killing in D-Wave. And I said to myself, okay, I've got to just try to let people understand why you're important, why people pay for you, and why this is now and not 10 years from now.
So, Jim, we are quite unique in the quantum industry in the sense that we were the first and are the only quantum computing company that is truly commercial. And by truly commercial, what I mean is we have customers using our systems today as part of their business operations. This is not research experimentation. This is customers using us today as part of their business operations. Companies like NTT Docomo, large cellular firm in Japan, companies like MasterCard.
Okay, because Michael Meeback is someone I know really, really well. And MasterCard can use anybody and has tremendous ability to be able, it's filled with mathematicians, really quite amazing. Most mathematicians under the roof of any other company. Why do they need you?
Yeah. So basically, our quantum computers today are really good at solving hard business optimization problems. These range from workforce scheduling to manufacturing plant floor optimization to protein folding. But one of the types of optimization problems is around optimizing loyalty rewards programs.
Oh.
So the idea is, how do you decide what programs to offer to what customers to maximize uptake? That's a hard optimization
I know that
problem.
most people think it's intuitive. It's not, right?
Definitely not.
And the way to make more money would be, can they bring you in to show them, or is that something, and will they pay you for that? Because I'm trying to figure out what, if I could.
So we have to go over to the D-Wave newsroom really quickly, because they actually just came out today and they announced they're doing a first ever Qubits 2025 quantum computing conference in Japan. And that this is coming up next month because they have Yonsei, they have Japan Tobacco, they have NTT Docomo. So Japan is really, really into D-Wave and all of their quantum efforts. As you can see, there's quite an imprint that's being left there in Japan, and Japan is definitely known as an innovator in technology. He doesn't go into many details either about the MasterCard situation. I know some of the bears I've seen have said, well, that was a deal that was done a couple of years ago, and we haven't heard more about that. I would love to hear more about exactly how it's being used. Hopefully he says more in the interview.
To get that information, why not pay you $20 million for that information? Get you to really mine it from it.
So it's not so much the information, it's the computation. Okay. We're not about big data. What we are about is solving hard computational problems to get to better answers and better outcomes.
Okay, so what for GE Vernova, which is a fabulous company that does alternative energy, but also natural gas turbines, what kind of outcomes are you trying to find for them?
So basically what we are trying to do is help all of our companies improve their business operations.
Okay.
So in the case of GE Vernova or any energy companies, it's all about how do we optimize the grid and how do we make it more reliable?
Well, okay, so that is so important to GE Vernova that I would think that they would pay you a lot more money than maybe they're paying you now. Is that possible?
Absolutely. So we are, as I said, the only commercial quantum computing company, but we are still in the very early stages of commercialization. Okay. So today, we are working with our customers through our professional services team to help them understand which of their applications can most benefit from quantum, to help them build out those applications and then ultimately move them into production. As they start moving into production, that's where we will see a significant revenue uptick.
Okay, so I am also told at the same time.
So that is also good to hear because you have some revenue visibility when you hear from the CEO, okay, this is our plan. This is how we're moving these customers through this pipeline. And this gives some visibility to that revenue. And I do want to go over to D-Wave careers and just take a look. I do this a lot, but I think it's important to just see, okay, so right now they are hiring 21 roles across departments in all locations. A lot of them are tech jobs. They have 6, 7. They have a bunch of sales and marketing jobs as well. So about a 50-50 split with some IT and business mixed in there. So they are hiring and they are growing, which has been reflected in their OpEx. But let's keep listening and see what else.
You've got to ask about, is he going to destroy Bitcoin? Now, can you explain to people why you may or may not be able to destroy Bitcoin?
Yeah, so we announced about 2 months ago that we had, for the first time ever, been able to show that our quantum systems can solve an important real-world problem, a useful problem that cannot be solved classically. Now, this happened to be a problem in the area of material simulation, basically computing properties of magnetic materials, which we can do in minutes that can't be done classically, even with millions of years. So that's a very significant result for the quantum industry. Nobody to date had been able to show that they could solve a useful problem that can't be solved classically. What we were then able to do is take that computation and turn it into what we called a quantum proof of work for blockchain. The idea being that instead of using the typical computation for Bitcoin, which is SHA-256, what you could do is use this quantum proof of work as the underlying computation for cryptocurrency or other blockchain applications. Why is this significant? Because if Bitcoin today was using this proof of work rather than what they're currently using, we would consume 1,000 times less power. This is a very energy efficient technology.
Sure, like the guys from CoreWeave, that's why they got into power.
So this is also a critical point. So one thing that's unique about quantum annealing, and even in the advantage systems, they've all drawn a very low amount of power, even as the systems have improved. And this is one of the main issues, in my opinion, one of the problems to solve in the future for these data centers. And they're talking about blockchain, and that this isn't my specialty, but there is a lot of compute that is required. So if you're able with a quantum annealing machine to find the lowest energy state and to solve a problem that helps both the blockchain become more secure, then that is definitely something that has commercial advantage. As we can see, Bitcoin has literally hit its all-time highs. Ethereum is running, we have all these different types of services that eventually, are they going to be safe from a sufficiently powerful quantum computer? And that's kind of the question in the back of everyone's mind. We're currently enjoying the fact that RSA encryption protects those financial assets, but will that always be the case?
Sure. Because they were Bitcoin guys.
You're absolutely right. And it's not only blockchain and Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, it's also AI. The point is, quantum computers are very energy efficient. Our systems are going to be able to perform these computations at a fraction of the power required. Time to short the energy stocks.
Well, I was going to say that we do believe that the grid is supposed to go up 4 to 5% every year. That will not happen if you get to be commercial.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Well, then we shouldn't be thinking about we've got to be worried about all the money going into energy.
Yeah, look, I think that today the assumption is it's still going to be a while before quantum gets to the point where it can really impact AI. However, I believe that you're going to see it happening much sooner than most people believe because of the technology that we've developed.
And you're showing me here, is this something that Jensen Huang saw and realized that perhaps he was being too judgmental about?
Well, I don't know if Jensen saw this, but this is our most recent quantum processor. It is a superconducting processor. It has over 1 million Josephson junctions. It's like transistors. Over 100 meters of wiring, hundreds of thousands of active devices. This is the largest superconducting chip ever developed.
Well, do we need to use cryogenic to cool this?
We do run this within a dilution refrigerator at millikelvin temperature.
Well, now, Jensen told me that cryogenic's too expensive for him to be using. Why is it okay for you?
Well, so because this chip is so much more powerful than GPUs. Think about it this way. That computation that I talked about a minute ago, computing properties of magnetic materials, we perform that computation in minutes, consuming about 12 kilowatts of power on this chip. If you were to run it on the largest exascale supercomputers in the world, massively parallel GPU systems, it would still take over 1 million years. So think about how much power and how much cooling you need for those massive exascale systems versus this one chip.
I really love how this conversation is so focused on AI and power consumption, because the solution right now, or the prevailing solution as all these big tech companies build out these huge data centers, is, oh, we'll just buy more energy. We'll just pay the energy bill. The assumption is more GPUs, more CPUs, more data centers, more energy costs. And it's really interesting to hear Dr. Baratz here say that it's time to short the energy stocks. If that is true, if that comes to be true at some point in the future, again, an annealing machine in these supercomputer centers that is able to reduce the stress or load, the energy load on these centers, I think is an absolutely brilliant use case and one of the low-hanging fruits for annealing, in my opinion.
Well, look, I could talk to you for hours, and I think that we're going to have to do a lot with you because our viewers want to hear more about this than anything, and our viewers are smart. And if we think that they're just yahoos that are trying to buy something at 12 and sell at 15, that's selling them short. They're looking for something that for multi-years, and it may just be you and your company. So I want to thank you so much, Doctor. It's incredibly enlightening to be able to talk to you. That's Dr. Baratz from.
So most of this information we heard before, and there was definitely some new revelations here. And Dr. Baratz is carrying himself in the same way that he carried himself on CNBC the day after Jensen came and said quantum was 15, 20 years away. And the stock, the D-Wave specifically, their stock has recovered and doubled and quadrupled since that time. And Rigetti is now looking like it's getting back to potentially that all-time high. The tectonic plates for both of these companies are moving and they're shifting. When we look back at D-Wave during that time period, and this is all happening very quickly. So in December of 24, this was a $10 stock, and then it plummeted down to $3.77. And now it's trading above $15 since May. And we had a close close to $19, and we've touched $19 in the last couple trading sessions. So just to give an idea, since Jensen's comments to now, we've seen a 400% return. But D-Wave, my price target remains on D-Wave $40. I still think that this stock could easily keep going. It's still in a very bullish trend. And then when we look at Rigetti hasn't yet gotten past its December 2024 highs. However, it is right on the doorstep. So there's some very exciting times ahead for quantum stocks, and we're starting to hear the use cases. It's great to see that the CEOs are taking questions from analysts, are going onto CNBC and having conversations. And I really enjoyed this video. I hope you did as well. I'm very excited to share with you soon. I've recorded an interview with the Veritone CEO, Veritone AI, and that's coming soon. So I loved the interview. It's just got to go through their PR and legal team to make sure everything's good on that side of things. But that's coming soon. So mark your calendars for the next day or two so you can learn more with me about Veritone AI. All right, we'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you really enjoyed that content. It's my goal to provide quality content as much as possible and with as little interruption as possible. If you would like to support my efforts and the channel, I offer 3 different membership options. It's super easy to sign up, and it starts at just $4.99 a month. And you just click the subscribe button and you can learn more.